Call them classic or vintage. It's up to you. Now it's time for the real review. Yeah.
Alright, this is something I'm going to start doing more often on the channel. I'm going to start doing these reel reviews of classic or vintage reels. Some I will be offering for sale on my eBay account and some I won't. This one is a Heddon 290. It's a skirted spool spinning reel and it's actually a little tough to find. There is another Heddon model 290 that is a gyro spin type similar to a Roddy that I featured in another video about strange or unusual features of spinning reels. This is a more common styling of reel. So there are two different model 290s that Heddon produced, and this one is the skirted spool version, and it's a much smaller, lightweight, ultralight type of a reel. I'd just like to quickly take a look at the spool setup as far as the drag washers and the clicker for the drag goes. This reel does use a metal drag clicker, which I prefer over the plastic, and it actually has a very smooth drag setup on this reel. It uses Teflon washers in combination with one fiber washer for a really smooth setup for an ultralight reel. And it uses a total of 6 drag washers. The reel has good line capacity for such a small reel, and it uses a good general purpose gear ratio of 5.4 to 1. I also like the handle style on this reel. That's a subjective thing. I like the way that the handle is built. I like the shape of it. I like the paddle style grip on it. There are 0 bushings and 0 bearings on the main drive gear, which is a major drawback. The only thing supporting the main drive gear is the aluminum reel housing itself. This is not good for wear purposes, but it's such a lightweight reel. If you're using it for panfish or something like that, it probably will not ever give you any problems. The main gear itself is a zinc alloy, which is probably the weakest material you can have for a gear in a fishing reel, but it's also the most common, and you see it in reels that are pretty expensive in modern reels, and they're still using zinc alloy gears. You don't get into higher quality materials until you go up significantly in price. It's a costly upgrade by most reel manufacturers, so although it's a zinc alloy main gear, most modern reels use those anyway. And as you can see here, the pinion gear is actually made out of brass, which is just fine. There's nothing wrong with brass as far as gearing goes. In fishing reels, it's a good material. One thing you'll need to watch out for is the clicker gear that is on the pinion gear. It's removable, and if you put it on backwards, the reel will stop if you reel forward. So let's take a look at a comparison between this reel and another one that more people would be familiar with, the Daiwa 1000C. It's another old style reel. It's one that's a lot more common. We'll just take a quick look at those two compared side by side. They are similar in line capacity. There is a difference in build quality. The Daiwa 1000C is a heavier built reel. It will probably last a lot longer than the Heddon. But again, we're talking about an ultralight reel here. If you're using it for pan fishing for the most part, the Heddon will probably last a really long time as well. I actually kind of like the body styling on the Heddon a little better than the 1000C. The 1000C is real classic in its own right. I just kind of like the lines of the Heddon personally. You'll see that the Heddon is 2 ounces lighter, and that's a pretty significant difference for such a small reel. So I hope you enjoyed this review. I'm going to try to keep these classic reel reviews to under 5 minutes if I can, short and sweet and to the point. Here's just a real quick text overview of kind of what I feel makes this reel a nice reel to own and some of the things I don't like about it as well. I'll talk to y'all later.